I do think that with respect to the January 6th case pending in the D.C. District Court, whose trial is still at this moment set for March of this year, that the Department of Justice went too slow. That I think in good conscience and in good faith and understandably didn't want to appear political when they came into office by immediately having a meeting to target the former President of the United States over January 6th. They were very understandably and legitimately focusing on the individuals who stormed the Capitol, who engaged in the rioting, who engaged in violence. So I think a little bit they didn't focus on the potential criminal culpability of Donald Trump and the people around him for instigating an insurrection. And then when the January 6th committee in the Congress started doing its work a year or two later and had very explosive testimony from a lot of people, most notably Cassidy Hutchinson, it's my sense, and some of the reporting bears this out, that's when the Department of Justice got into gear and said, wow, we maybe need to very forcefully and aggressively look at the conduct of the former president himself. But they lost like a year in that delay. And so some of these issues about whether or not these trials are actually going to be able to be started and finished and resolved before the election, a little bit falls, and I hate to say it, but a little bit falls at the feet of the Justice Department that, for understandable reasons, delayed investigating in a focused way the former President of the United States. And now we're in a race against time. We have a clock ticking. The issue is, and the reason the clock is important, is should Donald Trump win and become the president again, and if these trials have not happened, he has the ability to make them go away.
Well, what do you think also of the former president's own legal defenses?
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It's very serious. So Donald Trump does have, and he has lots and lots of cases, 4 criminal cases, he had civil cases, he had arguments over executive privilege in other contexts as well. He does, on occasion, have very, very good lawyers. One of his lawyers on a couple of his cases is a former colleague of mine who used to work for me, Todd Blanche, former prosecutor from Southern District of New York. But he also has lawyers who are convicted criminals. So it runs the gamut. He's not served well, but part of the problem is he doesn't serve his lawyers well, right? It is very difficult, as I understand it, to represent Donald Trump if your advice is not listened to and you're being asked to take outrageous and radical positions, as they sometimes are. I think this whole argument that he has absolute immunity just because once upon a time he was president of the United States is a somewhat radical argument. So it runs the gamut. Some of his lawyers are effective and good and have some ability to control him, and others are hopelessly in over their heads.